How's it going? Galore Wrestling Figures here. Welcome to another video. As you can tell by today's title, today is the Ringside Collectibles experience. And what I mean by that is, I thought I'd just do a video today just to sort of describe and explain and basically talk about who and what exactly Ringside Collectibles are. Now, I do have a package to unbox from Ringside. That's why I thought now would be the perfect time to sort of, talk about Ringside, unbox this figure. So, Ringside Collectibles, first thing before I unbox this. If you have been collecting wrestling figures for, I don't know, if you're new to wrestling figures or you've been collecting them for even the past week, you've probably heard of Ringside Collectibles and you're wondering who they are. Well, I'm going to tell you who they are. They are the biggest distributor and seller of wrestling figures in the world. Now, this video, by the way, isn't sponsored by Ringside. I don't have my own Ringside code, but maybe one day. So, Ringside, of course, they are based in the US. So, bear in mind if you're ordering from outside the US or even in the US. And they've been around for a long time, quite a lot of years. And the good thing about Ringside Collectibles is they sell a lot of wrestling figures. As I said, the biggest distributor. But the good thing is, Ringside Collectibles have their own exclusives. There's a lot of exclusives coming out prior and even that are on the site now. For example, From the Vault, they're exclusive to Ringside. Defining Moments are now exclusive to Ringside. So there's a lot of figures that are exclusive to Ringside Collectibles. Now, prices, they aren't too bad in all honesty. Some figures are priced up a bit depending on demand. But obviously, ultimately, us customers, we don't run Ringside. They ultimately have the final say in what they're going to charge for figures. But overall, apart from some figures having a bit of a high price markup, overall they aren't too bad. You can get elites, some hard to find elites. It's cheaper to get them from Ringside, for example, than it is for me to get them in the UK. So and they do have a lot of sales on as well, especially Black Friday. But now I know they've got a WrestleMania sale coming up, on now as we're talking. So keep your eyes out for the sales because that's when you can get some amazing prices for some amazing figures. Postage. That's the one thing I want to discuss before getting into the box. Postage it's not bad. If you're ordering one figure, postage is about, I want to say, £20. So if you're ordering one figure, you might maybe, some figures though, if you're ordering one figure, it's cheaper to get the figure with the even Ringside postage than it is to get in the UK. But depending on what figure it is, you might want to get, a couple more, bundle up, and then it saves on postage. So I think I've got 4 figures in the box. And of course, if you're ordering the big boxes like the Ringside exclusives, that's when it'll go up a bit, the postage. But it does sometimes, if you add a few more figures, it does go up by a few dollars. But I think for 4 figures, it was £25, which isn't too bad, I ordered this less than a week ago, and it's here. It was DPD, and, well, DPD when it's in the UK. In the US, it comes via FedEx. Under a week for postage coming from the US, it's not too bad, but if you're trying to get a figure that isn't too hard to get, and you're in the UK, it's probably best getting it from the UK, but if you're trying to find something that's, a bit rare to get, or they've got a sale on, get a few figures and then postage, it don't work out too bad. So, that does it for the talking. I want to get into the box. So it's not too big of a box, but what is in this box is something for maybe fix-ups. So, of course, always be careful when playing with knives. Well, not playing with knives, with opening boxes, because you don't want to play with knives, because that's when you get cut. Now, I've talked about it a few times. A long time ago, well, not even a long time ago, I was doing a torso crack and it ended quite badly for me. So always be careful, if you're under 18, get a parent to help you open the box. Even if you're an adult, if you're a grown adult like me, just be careful. So they do package figures up quite well, but if you're after a figure and you want it mock, it's probably best to get it in a protector, because especially if you're in the UK, it's coming overseas, it can get damaged, and even in the warehouse, it might not be the best condition. So if you select protector, odds are it'll come in good condition while it's getting transported, and in the warehouse, they'll probably pick one, good condition and put it in the protector. So they do, protect figures, of course, put packaging in. So, let's get into the figures, I should say. So the first one is one I've got a few times, quite a lot of actually, and it is the CM Punk 150 Basic. Now, of course, CM Punk, since his return to WWE, he's had a lot of figures. Now, I've been after a few of these. I think I've already got like 20 of these figures for the parts. But I know Ringside, I saw that they had a few in stock, and they only had 2, so I thought, I'm going to order those 2 for the head scans. I think in total, it was like £8, and, you know, basics here are £10, so it's not too bad, you know. And a couple of other things I got, so postage isn't too bad. So I thought, get those 2. And if you're using Ringside, use a discount code. There's a lot of discount codes out there. Shout out to AJWF. You can use his code. Nick Storm, My Damn Toys, Wrestling Hero Figs. There's a lot of codes out there. But, you know, my go-to codes, just because it's easier, are either AJWF or the Australian icon, Nick Storm. So, yeah, this is one of the basics I got. I got this for the head scan, and in all honesty, you know, I'm going to use the knee pads, the hands, the head scan. It's not too bad. And to be honest, the condition isn't too bad either. I was in the momentum of saying something, but I forgot what I was going to say now. But yeah, it's not too bad. I got that for the head scans. But what I was going to say is, they only had 2 of them in stock, but I know that there is... Mattel, the quality control nowadays isn't perfect, but I know that Ringside is selling some... From the Vault CM Punks with the Tommaso Ciampa head scan, I think the error figures, they've got about 10 of them in stock. So either someone's done it on purpose or it's an error. But if you're after a cheap body for from the Vault CM Punk, there's your chance. But they've got 10 of them, but only 2 of these, which I was a bit annoyed about. But ultimately, I only need these for custom, so it's not too bad. We got another one. There's the 2. So now the next one, I've got 2 more figures. And this is one where, if you're in the UK, these are hard to get. Alright, boxes aren't perfect, but it's not too bad. And it is the Main Event Championship Series CM Punk figure. Now, this figure is a Walmart exclusive. I believe, yeah, it was a Walmart exclusive. Now, Ringside do also sell some exclusives. I know that they've been selling Mattel Creations, the AEW from the Vault, a couple of Walmart exclusives. Now, this figure is... I haven't seen anyone in the UK selling these. I know that whole shebang are eventually getting them in, but I know with the whole shebang pre-orders can take a while, so I thought, get these, and it was looking like an import job. I've been wanting, once again, they only had 2 of these in stock, and I was going to get about 10, but they only had 2. I think in total this was about $12, and for the figure and belt it's not too bad, but this was looking like an import job, you know, getting someone to import me these from America, but luckily Ringside came in clutch, managed to secure me a couple. So yeah, it's a cool figure. I know Mattel are doing these, and I know this isn't a re-release. The Cody in the set was a re-release. I don't think the Roman Reigns was, or it might have been from a basic or a battle pack. And I know that they've done a couple of others that I don't think are... I think that they sort of originally had the old articulation, they re-released them in this series, and then, you know, you might get them in a battle pack. But long story short, this isn't a re-release. It's a cool figure. He did wear this attire a few times. That's why I need a couple for fix-ups. Just don't want to get the blare on there. So yeah, it's a cool figure. Now the last figure, you can guess, it is another one. The quality control doesn't look too bad, but the boxes aren't perfect. But luckily, I won't be keeping this mock. If I could find one of these mock though, however, I would happily keep it mock. But yeah, it's a cool figure. Yeah, overall, what did that work out? Just £20 pretty much for these 2, which is, you know, it's, in the UK it's £10 the basic, and I know in Walmart these are I think $15. So overall, it's not too bad. You know, you're getting the figure, which is good. Head scan, you know, you can put that on another figure, because I will probably be putting different head scans on this. And you get the belt as well, so it's not too bad. But that does it for the unboxing. But overall, the Ringside Collectibles, especially if you're in the UK or Europe, people are hesitant to order from them. The customer service is always quick if you ever need them for whatever reason, if there's an issue. Quick postage, even if you're in the US. Amazing bargains, good prices. I can't fault them, you know. There's a lot of people that use them, and there's some people that don't. But if you don't use them, and, you know, you're wanting some exclusive figures, hard to find figures, Ringside, you go to a place. Don't get me wrong, always shop independent. You know, there's a lot of independent places in the UK selling figures. However, in terms of if you're after exclusives or just cheap figures, you know, because some figures are cheaper to import from Ringside, head over to Ringside, get a code used, grab the bargains because they're amazing. You can't really fault them. So that pretty much does it for this video. I just nearly had a nasty voice crack. But that pretty much does it for this video. Overall, you know, 4 figures. I can't remember what it came to in total, but I pretty much paid what basics cost for these. Overall, some good parts for fix-ups, customs. I'm not going to complain at that. And that pretty much does it for everything I want to mention. So, once again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, like, comment, all the usual stuff. WrestleMania this week. Biggest thing, bigger than WrestleMania. New figure reveals. Hopefully some new CM Punk figure reveals. I can't wait. I will be in New York at the end of this week, so I'm not too sure when I'm going to get the videos up covering the reveals in WrestleMania, but it will be eventually. So that pretty much does it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.